Everyone, and welcome to the House of Rabs, and welcome to another exciting edition of Torah Talks. I'm your host for the evening. I'm Rabbi Rabs, and to my right is the very holy, the one and only Levi ben Avraham, aka Luke Ford. Say hello.
Good night.
And we're once again back in the House of Rabs, and of course we have behind us this very unique backdrop of a 50-inch high-definition TV that sits here doing nothing because...
You ready for some football?
Because we are waiting patiently for people out there to send to us what we need, a cable that connects the laptop to the TV.
And you can watch movies and everything on your TV.
Are you kidding? I got Netflix lined up.
Sweet.
I got Netflix stream, I got everything. But the thing that we're supposed to have is a connector, an HDDI cable that connects the laptop around the bookcase to there. We need 35 feet of cable, and if you're willing to send it to us, we're willing to connect, and then we can put all kinds of wonderful things on the TV. But right now, all we can show you is things that are copyrighted, and we're not going to put that on because we're going to get into trouble on YouTube, right?
Right.
So right now, we just have the backdrop, so we thought we'd let you see what wonderful backdrop we have, because one of you wonderful people have sent this to us, and we appreciate it, and right now, it's just a 85-pound backdrop, right? Okay, so that's what's going on back there. So it's good to have you back doing the show. And by the way, big shout out to the people in the chat room. We have Abe's, how you doing? A new person named Bet Adam, who's a Jew living in Borough Park, and Malachi's there. So hey guys, how's it going? And we have a live studio audience tonight. So let's hear it for the big. Let's make some noise, live studio audience.
Hey guys.
Woo! We got a live studio audience, so that's exciting. And what's going on, Levi? You take it away.
So I understand your parents are convinced that you're gay.
Oh, not this again. We did this last week. We did it the last two shows.
You can never do it too much, as far as I'm concerned.
All right, enough of that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
All right, enough of that. Okay, talking about last week's show, let's get right into it. Last week's show, for those who watched it, didn't watch it, whatever, it ended on it was the worst, according to my nephew, Yaakov. Hey Yaakov, how's it going? It was the worst ending to our show ever. It was a grave disappointment. The ending to our show. Do you know how our show ended?
No.
Let me tell the viewers. Refresh your memory about last week's show.
Oh, I was talking to a woman, and I was trying to cue up the video.
Let's talk about.
She had a message for me.
Let's talk about last week's show. This is exactly what happened. A young woman. How old is she, by the way?
She was 18 when I met her.
Well, everybody was 18. How old is she now?
About 22.
A 22-year-old woman. Is she Jewish?
Not so much.
Not so much. A 22-year-old shiksa living in Ireland, right, jumps into our chat room. She's been in it before, which is fine. And she says to Levi, I'm going to send you a video. I'm going to email it. So Levi, drops everything. He brings up his email client, and he's going through his inbox, and there it is. Then he downloads it. He's all involved in downloading it and trying to figure out what software he can use to look at it. And then he's looking at it, and there's this woman in the video, right, young woman, and she's on her bed, and she lifts up a little sign and says, "I love you." And the next thing you know, Levi says, "Oh, the show is over. I got to go." And then he kills the whole show. Show's done, right? Runs me out of his house. I don't have time to walk home. Go. I gotta get on Skype. Right? He's gotta get on Skype with this young woman, and the show ended, and he didn't even bother to say his famous line of stay in yeshiva and stay off the crack. He didn't say that. No. Everything goes out the window. Goodbye Torah. Goodbye show. Because Levi got a boner, and that was the end of it. Levi got a boner, and that was the end of the show. And that's, how would you like to comment about that?
Well, I had the opportunity to converse with an attractive 22-year-old woman. So between that and talking about Torah or walking home with you, yeah, I'd rather be with the Sheila.
And that was the end of the show. Are you proud about your work? How we went from a fine Torah discussion, right? And then you just lost your.
She sent me a video where she was lying on her bed, all dreamy and intense, kind of looking into the camera, and then she flashes up this sign, "I love you." Of course, I wanted to communicate more with her. I didn't get a lot of that. Yeah, I don't get a lot of opportunities to talk to hot young women these days since I left the industry.
Okay. All I know is that the one woman, like she's not even Jewish. She gets on her bed and she says, "I love you." And the next thing you know, our show goes in the toilet. He forgets everything we're doing. I can't be bothered to walk me out. He can't be bothered to say his one line. It's like he forgets everything. You just like went into complete, you basically.
Yeah, you can't understand that because you're gay. But I'm heterosexual. So my heterosexual viewers out there will understand completely what happened. As the great rabbi says, the Lakewood rub, young eggs are more precious than all of Hazal.
So what do you have to say about yourself with all that?
Well, I acted like a manly Australian heterosexual that I am.
And what happened when
it's a jungle out there.
What happened when you Skyped with her?
It was 4:30 a.m. her time, and so she actually wasn't up for any Skyping. So.
Oh, okay.
That was kind of pretty much the end.
So you basically kicked me out of your house for no reason. Are you proud about the work you did in hindsight? The fact that the show ended in a disgraceful ending. You couldn't even remember to sign off.
Yeah, that's the way God made me.
And then you kicked me out of the house, and you got nothing out of it.
Yeah.
And you're happy about that.
Yeah.
All right, so that was.
Wow! Imagine putting my bris, my holiest possession, in an orifice filled with impurity. Wow.
Oh, that must be Talmud 1, 2, 3.
It's a jungle out there, and I'm Tarzan.
All right.
Why do they keep asking you about the socks? Why does Justin keep asking you about the socks?
I don't know what he's talking about. What socks? All right.
Well, you've got a young woman here.
Okay, yes.
So what's that been like?
Oh, Faith is in the room. Hey, Faith, and hey, Tom, hey, Justin, and Lakewood Rob is in there, and we have 6 people watching us.
Are your West Hollywood friends giving you a hard time, saying, "Oh, Rabs is out with a woman now. He's turned his back on us."
Oh, that was Justin who left the socks? You left them on my doorknob. Yeah, I come back, there's like these socks on my doorknob. Like, what the hell is that? I didn't know what it was.
That's a traditional gay mating thing.
I thought it was like somebody was like some sign somebody's out to kill me or something, I don't know. I was like nervous. I didn't like, what? That was you. Thank you. I guess they're not exactly what I'm looking for. I'll tell you. Let me show you what the socks I wear. Okay, I wear white socks, and they're like knee high.
Oh wait, that's what Haredi Jews wear.
Yeah.
The ultra orthodox.
I'm extra crispy ultra orthodox. So I wear the knee high white socks. But thanks for the thought. Very nice of you. Appreciate that. All right, so let's get into it. You asked about what's going on. I have a young woman in the studio audience. Once again, the studio audience is going wild tonight.
Yeah, she's just going nuts. She's so expressive.
I'm actually looking at the chat.
Oh, are you?
I'm actually in the chat room.
How are you in the chat room? I don't see you. How is that possible?
I should be there. I can see everything.
I can't see you. Okay, hold on a minute.
I'm there.
Is this young woman free to come and go as she pleases?
Okay, so anyways, let's getting on with the show here, right? So we have somebody in the audience, and you want to hear about how it went with us?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll bring her on. So
any awkward moments, you just.
Yeah, we'll have her on. So I'm going to bring on one of the studio audience members today. You might remember her; she's been here before. Her name is I don't remember her name. We'll come back up here and we'll find out what your name is. So give her a big round of applause.
Whoa! Here, and I'd like you to have some. Here, I brought these. I brought these for Esther.
Thank you. Great.
Okay, very nice of you, lady, to bring those on the set.
You're welcome.
Okay, so your name's Esther, is it not?
Yep.
Okay, say hello to the studio. Say hello to the audience.
Hi guys.
All right. Okay, so you've been here. You're here in LA again. You like it?
Yeah.
So what did we do today?
We walked to the Beverly Hilton.
We walked to the Beverly Hilton, right?
Yep.
We walked to the Beverly Hilton. Mm-hmm. And tell me, for the people that don't know, what's the Beverly Hilton Hotel like?
It's okay. It's nice.
Is it like a Travel Lodge, Motel 6?
No, it's quite posh, but
It's a posh hotel.
But it's not the most upmarket you can get.
Oh, okay, but like, how many stars do you think like it would get?
3.
But it's a fancy place.
Yeah, 3, 4 stars.
Is it the kind of place that a person can only go in if they're very wealthy
yes.
and they'll kick you out?
Yes, they will kick
They'll
you
kick
out.
you out of the
Can you pay by the hour?
So basically, here's what happened. We're walking up to the hotel, and I said, "Come on in. We'll go inside, and we'll check out like their bar. We'll buy a soda or something like that, right? We'll use the facilities, and we'll head back, right?" And you said, "What did you say to that?"
I said, you can't do that, because like in a place like that, like near Beverly Hills, they'll kick you out if you look like you don't have money. Right? I know that for sure.
Okay, these flowers are blocking me.
Okay.
So what happened?
So you thought that if we walked in,
Yeah, they'd see that we were not exactly fancy dressed.
so they would actually escort us out the door.
Of course.
Okay, so we went in, and you were like very uncomfortable because you thought they were going to kick us out.
No, but you were trying to make a scene.
Did anyone ever come up to us and approach and say, "Are you guests here? Maybe you need to leave"? Did anybody ever try to kick us out?
No, because I managed to get out of there before that happened.
Oh, I see. Okay.
What do you mean when you said the rabbi was making a scene? Was he getting all hysterical?
Move
And
back into the camera.
No, he was just like, I want to show you
really
this.
queenie?
Queenie, no, he was like wanting to show me everything. And basically,
Oh, yeah. He does that with all the girls. Takes to the Beverly Hills Hilton, shows them everything.
Okay, so
Nice.
so basically, you thought the whole time we were in there that we didn't belong there, and they're going to kick us out.
Absolutely.
And they're going to kick us out. Right. So
That
then
bathroom was probably more expensive than the whole apartment I live in right
you're living here.
now. No, not this one, the one back home.
Oh.
Like in Scotland.
Ah, I don't.
You live in Scotland?
Yeah.
I thought you lived in London.
London. No, I live up in Scotland now.
Oh.
All right,
In
so
Glasgow.
So getting on with the story, so there was a big hall there. There's like a big banquet room, if you will, and they hold the Golden Globes are held there every year, and it's like I think it's called like the International Ballroom or something like that, or something like that. And I said, "Oh, there's the International Ballroom, and it holds 1,500 people." And I said, "Let's pop our heads in, and I'll show you. Maybe you can take a picture or whatever, right? And this is something you want to have as a memento, you know." Something to see, it's something worthwhile from the hotel. You could say, look, I went to the room where the Golden Globes are held, right? And you said...
No.
You said, why not?
Because you're making a scene?
Because I'm making a scene, because the words you said were, that's embarrassing.
That's embarrassing.
It's
It was
embarrassing that you'd want to pop your head in and look inside the International Ballroom.
Yeah.
Right? And take a photo of this ballroom, right?
Uh-huh.
And if someone saw us, we could always say, well, maybe we're planning to get married, we're looking at
And
potential...
what did you say?
And
No, you didn't say that. You were like, your first thing that came out
oh,
of
well,
your
my
mouth.
first thing was
I was like, oh, our son is getting married. Right? Our son is getting married. And we would like to see your rooms. Right? Our son. How old do I look like?
19.
Right? Right, thank you. Do I look like I could have a, like, what's the legal...
Son getting ready to be married?
Yeah.
Not so much.
Yeah, thanks for that.
and then, well, you know, it was like,
But it's a good job no one came up to us.
no, because
now.
here's, you didn't bring in the lead in. I said it's very common that people that look like us would be, you know, not dressed up or anything, just off the street, frummies, walk in. I've been to many frum weddings that are held at that hotel. It's very likely that a couple might just walk in and say, you know, we're just shopping for venues to do the wedding. We could walk in and say, you know, we're just another couple like coming in. We want to have a place for our kids to do a wedding. It didn't occur to me that the age problem. So then I switched it and I said, well, maybe we're getting married and we're looking for a venue for our wedding. We just want to pop our head in there and take a couple pictures and walk off. They would have been very happy to help us. But the key thing of this story was that she said it's an embarrassment. It's embarrassing if the two of us walked in together into the International Ballroom.
Look, you have places that require people of a certain standard, right? In other words, wealth. We don't have that wealth. They have the right to tell us to leave because we don't look rich. That's the way it goes. There's a lot of places that do that, even in London, even in Glasgow.
Okay, so the key
Right?
word is, it's embarrassing. That would be embarrassing if we walked through that door.
Did he have his pants down? Is that part of the problem, or were they discreetly tucked back?
I don't mind
You don't
the
mind
way
that
he
said
looks.
Jewish?
No, it's not him looking Jewish. It's just I'd rather
Get that
him
more on the
having,
camera.
you know, like 6 figures in the bank before we can walk in there.
Okay, so it's embarrassed. So we don't go in the International Ballroom. We don't see where the Golden Globes are. We're standing outside the door. Nothing to take a picture of. We can't go inside because it's embarrassing. Now we head outside the hotel. We walk down Wilshire Boulevard, and we come to a bank. And in front of the bank, there's a fountain. And the fountain has it's like one of those huge fountains with a big pond thing going on. It's a concrete pond in the front of the bank on busiest street in the world, Wilshire Boulevard, right there in downtown Beverly Hills. Big ass fountain thing with a pond. And what exactly does she do? She goes in and she puts her hands into the pond. Right?
The fountain.
In the
It's not a
fountain,
pond.
into the fountain, into the water, takes off her slippers, and is ready to take a Bigfoot in there.
No, I didn't. I didn't even take my shoes off. I asked, is it illegal if I dip my feet in here?
She's asking me, is it illegal? Oh, that wouldn't be embarrassing. So let me get this straight. Walking fully clothed, walking into the International Ballroom and no one's around, right? Nobody's in there. Maybe we're checking for a place for a potential wedding to give them some business. That's embarrassing. In the street where a million people are watching us. Over 600,000 people drive down that street every day, and you're in front of them, and you take off your slippers, and you're.
Can I just add something?
Go ahead. Not embarrassing, folks. Go ahead.
Shut up. Right? I want to make it clear that I only wanted to take my shoes off. I don't want to be known as the girl that wanted to get naked.
Oh no!
In the fountain. You know, oh Rabs, do you remember that time where your girlfriend wanted to get naked in the fountain? I don't want to be known as that kind of girl, right? Only shoes I wanted to take off.
Right, just shoes. Right, I embellished the story.
Dick.
I embellished the story. She just wanted to take off her shoes and dip your feet in the bank front yard fountain.
It's a nice fountain.
Right? This is a fountain that people walk by and you observe it and maybe you throw a penny into it. And she's like, hey, this looks like a great place to run around. And I'm thinking, okay, so that wouldn't be embarrassing in your book. But what would be embarrassing is fully dressed, shoes on, walking into the International Ballroom.
At least I'm not lying. When you go to the Beverly Hills and you're going to lie of how much money you own. At least when I'm dipping my feet in the pond, I'm not lying.
Okay, so there's that. So that's today's story. Big round of applause. Well, while I have you up here,
Whoa.
do you have any opinions on the story that we just had with Levi?
Oh, not my... Which story?
About last week.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
About the girl?
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, about the girl.
Yeah, what do you think of him, going into a panic and closing down
That's
the show?
dangerous.
That.
Making a girl over the internet?
No, that's fine, but the difference is I'm Jewish. You gotta be careful. Don't let your heart fall for a woman that's non-Jewish. Especially if you're a convert. Gotta be careful.
Do you want to have him come up here and talk to him directly?
No, that's just the only warning. Don't let don't let her have your heart. Because you gotta stitch your Jewish chicks.
But what about the fact that he closed the whole show down?
It means he's in love.
Love?
Yeah. You've been starved for affection for a long time, haven't you?
Yeah.
So some pretty, Celtic woman comes and says, I love you.
Yeah. It's been a long time.
See?
Celtic, that includes Scottish and...
Scots, English, Irish.
Oh,
Welsh.
everybody together?
Yeah, kind of.
Those British chicks will do it to you every time. I understand
What
Levy's
part of
problem
Ireland
now.
is she from? Northern or southern?
Well, she runs with the IRA.
Oh, she's a fucking Catholic?
know.
Really? Are you joking, right?
I'm joking.
I was about to say. Don't I have a problem against Catholics? It's just say, IRA is a bit extreme.
She is Catholic.
That's that's fine. I've got
We
a lot
have a
of Catholic
Catholic in the chat room.
Oh yeah, we
Be
got
careful what you
Faith.
say.
Faith from Youngstown.
Case
It's fine because I went to Catholic high school for a couple of years.
Okay.
I'm fine with being in that.
She makes me feel very priestly.
Oh, does she? Is that why you like it?
I take her confession.
Oh, really? But you can pay a Jewish chick to do that.
Oh, I do that too.
I see.
And I tell her, go say 7 Hail Fathers and 9 Hail Marys and 10 Hail Fathers.
Yeah. That's a real turn on.
All right. Do you want to talk to him directly here?
No, it's fine. Just
That's not talking to him.
just make sure she doesn't stir your heart.
All right, a big round of applause for Esther. Good to have you back.
Right.
We may see you again next week.
Yeah, probably.
All right. Hurry up, Luke, before they lose the entire show. Be careful. We don't want to destroy the house.
I just had something very exciting happen.
What's that?
Mark Shapiro spoke about me at today's lecture.
Oh, boy.
And you know what he said?
What did he say?
He said that I'm doing a good thing, but he hopes people don't get the wrong impression that all he says are sensationalist stories.
Oh, you mean about your blog?
Yeah, because I take the highlights of his lectures and put them on my blog.
Okay. All right, good.
But I've made the big time. Got mentioned by my favorite Jewish scholar.
All right. Well, way to go.
And that's Mark with a C, not a K. Mark with a K is Goyish. Mark with a C isn't necessarily. So he said in one of his previous lectures he's never met a good Jew named Luke, but he has met Jews named Mark, M-A-R-C, or even Matthew, but no Lukes.
All right. So that's good. And Bleb the Champ joined the chat, so big shout. He just walked out as I said that. All right. So, what do you think about this whole thing going down in France?
I'm very opposed to it. I think it's wrong when someone comes up on a motorcycle and shoots and kills Jews. I'm like pretty much across the board. I think that's bad.
Okay. Now Bleb the Champ's back in. Hey Bleb. Hey Brett. How's it going? So today in France, what happened was somebody...
A rabbi and 2 kids
Take it away.
got gunned down by someone who just rode up on a motorcycle and blew them away.
And Malachi just hit it hit it 100%. He said more reason for all Jews to move to the USA.
And we don't know whether it was an Arab or a Muslim or maybe it
Probably
was
not
a Buddhist, because those
Probably
Buddhists, there's just such a strong history of anti-Semitism, and
Yes,
they're like so
terrible.
violent, and particularly in Europe.
We don't know who it was, but they said that the culprit is identified by having a tattoo on his face. Chances are it's not somebody who's a Muslim, because they don't like tattoos. So it's very likely more of a neo-Nazi type.
I've been thinking that when Jews desecrate their breasts, it causes the pious ones to die.
That sounds like Talmud 1, 2, 3. So here's what's going on over there. It's that I think that Malachi hit it. I think every Jew needs to get out of France right now. I don't think it's a safe place for a Jew to be. I don't even think we needed this event to know that. Would you agree with me on that?
Yeah.
France is historically a very anti-Semitic country, and how much more so now that like Muslims are infiltrating the place. So it's time to get the hell out of there. It's not a safe place, especially from somebody who's identifiably Jewish, someone walking around looking Jewish. This is no place for them. They need to come to America.
They need to go to Germany. Germany is like a good, safe place for Jews. But there's something like 700,000 Jews in France, more than any other country in Europe.
Yeah, it has more than Russia.
Yeah, really? More than Russia now? Mm-hmm. I guess 2 million Jews left Russia for Israel, etc. But yeah, France is the Jewish stronghold. Now, it's not horrible. It's not like being a Jew in Egypt or Jordan or Iraq or Iran. It's not as bad as that. But generally speaking, Jews do not go around France dressed as Jews. They don't wear a yarmulke in public
Because
France
dangerous.
and also France is very strong secular ethos that you don't take your particular identity into the public square. So Muslims, they pass a law against Muslims wearing a veil.
Right.
And so Jews, except for basically the Hasidim, don't wear distinctively Jewish garb or wear a yarmulke.
Right, and the whole thing of the French Revolution was what? Was liberty...
Fraternity, equality, and liberty.
Yeah, my ass. They should change the three things of France to appeasement, butt-kissing, and what else?
Assisting the Germans. You know why...
and surrender, yeah, that's
You know why the French like to grow big tall trees next to their boulevard so that the Germans will have lots of shade when they march through. So tonight, folks, we're as happy as a German in Paris.
That's what's happening here. All right, you want to move on to the Parsha? Unless you got something else?
Well, yeah, let's move on to the Parsha. But so we're starting the book of Leviticus. The Hebrew name for this book is Vayikra, and it's also the name of this week's Torah portion. And this book played a big role in my Seventh-day Adventist upbringing, because Seventh-day Adventists believe in a heavenly sanctuary, and so that's one of the distinctive foundational beliefs, that in 1844, when the church started, Jesus moved from the holy to the most holy place in the heavenly sanctuary, began the final work of judging the saints, the 144,000 elect on earth who are faithful to him. So Seventh-day Adventists believe in progressive revelation, so that they're the latest and the most up-to-date representation of the divine will. But there's a lot of stuff about what goes on in the heavenly sanctuary, and to an outsider it seems all very esoteric and stupid and bloody-minded and waste of time. But for an outsider trying to tackle this book, Vayikra, it is not an easy read. It's not immediately accessible. It's not thrilling like watching Netflix. And so it kind of brought me back a little bit to my Seventh-day Adventist upbringing. Like I had an acquaintance friend who did a PhD in Hebrew at the University of California at Berkeley, and he studied under Jacob Milgram, and he did his PhD in the sanctuary and the very specific parts of the written Torah. And he also has published various books and scholarly essays, and it took something like 12 years to get his PhD. I mean, he really immersed. So he was a goy, he was the son of a preacher, and he immersed himself in the Hebrew language and got a PhD from a prestigious university. Now teaches at the Seventh-day Adventist University in Michigan, and specializes in the sanctuary and related things like that. So there are quite a few Seventh-day Adventists who specialize in this area. Text study is something that's basically unique to Jews. So Seventh-day Adventists don't do text study unless it's scholars. Like if you go to a Seventh-day Adventist Bible study, they don't bring out sheets with the Hebrew and the English translation and go over rabbinic commentaries, etc., like that. So the way that Protestants and Seventh-day Adventist Protestants approach the text is that they let us open God's Word and see what it says to us. So they're just kind of like open up the Bible and see what effect it has on them. And there you're inspired.
Why are we talking about Seventh-day Adventists?
It just brought me back.
I happen to know that from that book, Vayikra, that's the whole thing of the Karbanos.
Right.
And they took from that the whole business of why they can't eat meat.
Well, they actually get that from the book of Genesis, where the Garden of Eden, the ideal is that...
Oh, it's Genesis.
That it's vegetarian. And also in the Messianic age, in the book of Isaiah, it says that in the Messianic age, things will also be vegetarian because animals won't be eating each other anymore. The lamb will lie down with the wolf.
But you need to know what that means. See, okay. All right, so they're way off. But unfortunately, a lot of this silliness still sticks with you today, and you still have a lot of the Seventh-day Adventism in you.
So I did a blog post about Seventh-day Adventists also consider themselves people of the book. So Jews consider themselves people of the book. Muslims consider themselves people of the book. Seventh-day Adventists consider themselves people of the book, the Bible. So there's probably more Bible study going on by the average Adventist than any other type of Protestant. They also have more of a school system than any other type of Protestant. And their Sabbath morning services run 3 hours, which is about as long as the Jews, while a typical Christian Sunday morning service only runs about an hour. So there are some similarities. Can we bring up my notes on
Yeah.
this week's Parsha? Oh, yeah, so I was reading this book about outreach to the Muslims by Seventh-day Adventists and finding all the things they have in common. And Israel, the modern state of Israel, occupies no special role in Seventh-day Adventism. Like Seventh-day Adventists don't feel any special affinity with the land of Israel or the modern state of Israel. So when I was growing up, that just was not a big deal. And as I was growing up, I heard like 10 times more anti-Catholic sentiment than anti-Jewish sentiment. I heard very little anti-Jewish stuff growing up as Seventh-day Adventist. I'm going to get a drink. How do you feel about your boy Newt Gingrich? Do you still think he's going to win the Republican nomination?
Do I still think he's going to win it?
Yeah. Where's my?
I don't think I ever said that I thought he was going to win it.
Where's my water? Oh, there it is.
I don't think I ever said I think he's going to win it. I don't remember saying those words.
Okay, you're right.
I never said that.
I'll just talk about.
What do I think? I still think what I think since the beginning. That if you combine the votes from Gingrich and Santorum, which is the conservative vote of the Republican Party, it beats Romney every time. Unless they're in a liberal state. But in like 4 out of 5 states in America that aren't liberal, right? If those guys combine their votes, they always beat Romney. Romney never hits 50%. He never hits 50%. He's winning this. He's going to win. You know, he's winning, but he's getting 35% tops. The majority of the party doesn't want this guy, and it's a shame that the vote is being split up all these different ways. Newt and Santorum need to have a private one-on-one debate. Newt and Santorum, and the loser needs to back off. And that's what it is.
I don't understand why Peyton Manning signing with Denver. Like, he could have won Super Bowls if he'd signed with San Francisco. Did he not want the pressure? Because if he signed with San Francisco, then everyone would expect him to win the Super Bowl.
Right.
He signs with a crappy team like Denver that played way above their heads last year, and no one's going to expect anything. So why on earth would he sign with a mediocre team? I guess because there's no pressure. It's kind of like the opposite of LeBron James, who went to Miami.
It's a really dumb decision, also because it's a very physical division. He's bound to get hurt at his late age. It's against the Chargers, and he has a really bad track record in the playoffs against San Diego. He never beat San Diego in the playoffs. And Denver has a really bad track record in general against the Chargers, where they love to drop both games every year to them. So he's going to be in a situation where he's going to lose to the Chargers. This will probably be the Chargers' catapult to win the division. So as a Charger fan, I'm loving this, right? As a Ram fan, I'm digging it because this might free up Tebow, and I would love to see the Rams pick up Tebow. But the rumor is that Tebow wants to sign with Jacksonville.
Yeah, the Rams are invested in Sam Bradford.
He's terrible. He's god-awful. The difference between Tebow and Sam Bradford was demonstrated when Bradford had the game on the line 2 seasons ago, against Seattle. He couldn't do a damn thing.
Yeah.
When Tebow was spotlighted against Pittsburgh in the playoffs, he won it. And that's the difference.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
So this week's Torah portion is Vayikra, the first 5 chapters of the book of Leviticus. So ancient Israel had a division of power. Like in America, we have division of power between the judiciary, between Congress, and between the executive branch. Well, in ancient Israel, they had a division of power between the king, the prophet, and the priest. So, for instance, the king played no special role in the sacrificial system. That was run by the priest. And the prophet was the outsider who would kind of critique things. And what were we going to say?
Well, I wanted to ask you, where did you get that from?
I heard it from Dennis Prager.
Ugh. Okay, let's take that apart. The ancient Israel, if you will, was divided power, yes. The king, yes. The Kohanim, yes. I would not say the prophets had power. I would say that the sages had power. The Sanhedrin. The fact that he didn't even think to add the Sanhedrin is very telling of why you should not be quoting him for Torah. It was the Sanhedrin. You know what the Sanhedrin is?
Yeah, it's 72 sages.
The big.
Moitzis something Gadol.
It's the.
What's that phrase for the Council of Torah sages? Moitzis something Gadol. Well, what do you call the Council of Torah sages? Like for Agudat Israel today?
Agudat Israel?
Yeah, the council, the 23.
I don't even know.
Moitzis something Gadol.
I don't know where you're going at. Now,
Okay.
here's the thing.
Okay.
The Sanhedrin represents the Torah.
Mm-hmm.
You have Torah, Kahuna, and Malchus. Those are the three. Torah, Kahuna, and Malchus.
Mm-hmm.
Torah is the sages, is the Sanhedrin. They had a lot of power. Kahuna is what? Is the Kohanim. Is the services in the base of the Kiddush.
Right.
And the Malchus is the king. And those are the three. Not the prophets. Prophets didn't have power. They just did their prophecy things.
They were like bloggers.
Yes.
They would like critique. They'd speak truth to power.
Right, but instead of, their words came directly from God rather than coming directly from their penis.
Many of my words come directly from God.
Yes. Really.
Yeah, the Khatam Sofer felt like he was gifted with like divine inspiration. I've been listening to some of Mark Shapiro's lectures on the Khatam Sofer. Great, the most influential responsa writer of the last 200 years. He was a Hungarian rabbi.
Who?
At the Khatam Sofer.
Chassam Sofer.
Yeah, at the end of the 18th, beginning of the 19th century.
Yeah, he's a good rabbi.
Okay.
All right. Wait, I want to see what Faith said.
Okay. Reading this week's Torah portion, I just kind of wanted to throw up my hand and say, what the hell? Because it's really removed from my modern sensibility. And it was kind of hard for me to go back and forth from watching Netflix, where there'd be lots of sex and violence, the stuff that I like to watch. And then then you take 2 turtle doves and some flour and you give it to the priest. And it was a hard transition. Also, I've been getting up every morning for Daf Yomi, and we're studying Tractate Tamura, which is kind of the sacrificial system, and it's hard to get into. But the other day I ran into an old friend. I've known this bloke for like 15, 16 years, and now he's got 3 kids. They're about 5, 7, 8 years old. And the kids said to me, "What do you do? Who are you? Are you a college student?" They thought I was a college student because I have that much youth and vitality.
Okay.
And I just wanted to share
What
that.
does that have to do with? What does that have to do with learning Tamura?
Maybe that's part of the reason I got so much youth and vitality.
All right.
You've never even studied Tamura.
I will be honest. I didn't spend a lot of time learning about Kabbalas.
And what are Kabbalas?
The offerings.
And what's...
Menachos,
they
Bachim.
mean...
I didn't really learn those.
Kabbalah, doesn't that mean getting close to God?
Well, the way we used to get close to God was by bringing the offerings.
And isn't that what the word means, getting close to God?
Offerings.
Yeah.
We're offering something to God.
Yeah. So how do you get close to God?
How do I get close to God?
Yeah. Aside from watching porn.
Well, I try to learn Torah.
Okay. And does that help bring you close to God?
No.
What about having a young teenage girl from, a naive waif from Scotland come over and crash on your couch for a few days?
She doesn't crash on my couch.
No, she goes off and stays somewhere else.
She's a Bas Yisrael. Have some respect.
Sorry. Does that make you feel close to God?
Does it make me feel close to God that she
comes over here?
It makes me feel that
lights
God...
up your life?
What God has been kind to me.
Okay.
God has been kind to me.
What about when you get out there in nature? Does that make you feel close to
I like
God?
going to my beach and I love walking around, but when no one's there, I like going in the water, surfing.
Is that a nude beach? Do you go
No, I don't go to the nude beach.
You don't go to the nude beach.
Right. But that is something very spiritual about being like alone and in touch with God at a beach. When it's just like you see like all of the magnificence of God. You have like the mountains in the background, and you've got like the beautiful clear water, and you've got like the waves coming in, and like he'll send you a seal or a dolphin will come your way. Usually a seal, and then you got like all this beautiful sand, and the sky is blue, and it's so warm, and it's all just for you because you can't, everywhere you look, you see nothing, and you say, "Look at this! God is doing all of this just for me," and that's a pretty powerful moment.
Rabbi Beryl Wine says,
what's it for you?
I guess
Irish women.
No, listening to like Mark Shapiro lectures, that's the most excited I get about Torah. Like when I get some of his lectures.
Oh, you switched it to Torah. We were talking about God.
Well, that's how I get close to God.
It's through Torah.
Yeah, if it's excellent.
Right. Okay.
If it's really exciting and interesting and provoking.
Okay, so if you want to switch it back to the question of what makes you feel close to Torah,
it's a great teacher.
Yeah? I would agree with that because I get off reading Rabbi Miller's stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to listen to Rabbi Miller tapes.
Yeah?
Like, yeah, I have an Orthodox rabbi friend who just sent me some tapes.
If you don't come to my chumash here, how do you justify your existence?
And I remember Rabbi Miller said, if
One of the
you
Puerto
see,
Rican women?
yeah, you see a one-legged Puerto Rican, that's a message for Klal Yisrael. Like everything out there is a message for the Jews.
Absolutely.
So Rabbi Beryl Wine says the details of the sacrifices is written in the Torah and is expounded and expanded in the Mishnah and the Talmud, like the mysterious formula and equations used by physicists and chemistry professors that are unintelligible to the ordinary person on the street. Nevertheless, with work, it works. They accomplish their stated functions and goals. So this is not easily accessible stuff in this week's Torah portion. But if you study with a great teacher, you can start to make some sense of it. So I used to need like reasons and explanations for everything. And in my old age, I'm not as demanding. I've got like more trust and faith in this Jewish system thing, and so I don't like pull my hair out when something doesn't make sense to me, which is like useful when studying a parsha like this, which is not immediately accessible to human reason.
Okay.
Now, it's easy with many secular people to talk about ethics, to talk about right and wrong, to talk about social justice, social policy. It's usually hard to talk to secular people about holiness, and holiness is the subject of this book of the Torah, Vayikra.
Okay, first let's get a definition. What is holiness?
Well, kadosh is the Hebrew word, and it means separate.
Separate.
So, separation of, for instance, the Sabbath from the other days of the week. You make the Sabbath day holy. Separate between men and women. There's a difference in distinction.
So it's not egalitarian.
It's not egalitarian, but there's a difference between Kohanim, Leviim, and Yisrael. Between the
so the
priests.
whole concept of equality, not even just about men and women,
right?
But just like the idea, like, hey, we're all the same.
Right.
Torah doesn't go with that.
Right, and just because like I have a thought or an opinion or a feeling on Torah, doesn't mean that it's equally valid with some guy who's actually studied the Torah, such as Rabbi Rav. So the more religious you get, the more hierarchical it gets, where people who've really studied Torah are acknowledged as the ones who studied the Torah, and just because you have a feeling or an opinion about it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
And so it's more hierarchical. There's a difference between adults and children, and it's not like we're all egalitarian. It's like, oh, call me Luke. No, it's Mr. Ben Abraham. And
right, and here's something that's also very important you didn't even say. But when you make divisions between Jews and non-Jews.
Mm-hmm.
What makes us holy is that we're separate and we're not like the Goyim. And there's that clear
right.
wall division.
Right.
It's a wall that's bigger than the biggest wall you can imagine. It's a huge wall that separates the separation of Goyim and Jews. Right? That we're totally different from non-Jews in everything we do, and we don't marry them, right? And we don't emulate them, and we
don't have sex with them via Skype.
Yeah, we're going to have to cut down on that, right? Right, so we're not like the Goyim. We don't mix with the Goyim like that. I mean, we can be friends with them, but we don't.
Yeah, we can make money from them.
Yeah, and we're totally separate from them. And this is a concept that you were mentioning about, like the secularists and the liberals.
Mm-hmm.
They have a big. This is a shocker to them because they're not just about equality.
Right.
But they're about multiculturalism.
Right.
Right? And this is a big concept where they want everyone at the melting pot, right? And everybody should just melt into one group. And we say, no, Torah is the opposite of that. Torah says, you got to keep it, you got to remain a Jew forever.
Yeah.
You know, your family you have to marry Jews. Their families have to marry Jews. And this is what we have to do forever and ever. And we have to maintain our identities and not assimilate and not water down Judaism, not water down who we are. Stay traditional, right? Grow payas, bring the beard back. Bring the beard back, maybe. What do you think about that?
Pledge to chant.
You're not even paying attention. You're not even paying
I
attention.
am!
What did I say?
Hey, you said the Pledge to Chant rights in the chat room. These guys are hilarious. One guy talks and the other doesn't listen.
You're not paying attention.
I am. It was
What did I just say? You don't have the first clue.
You're talking about liberals.
Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay.
And you're talking about egalitarianism.
What did I say? I said that Jews should not assimilate.
And they should grow their beard. You said that they should...
We should stand
The men
up.
should grow a
We
beard.
should not assimilate. We should not blend with the Goyim. We should not... We should...
should not share vital bodily fluids. Because
I'm
they
not
want
just
to
worried about that.
sap our vital bodily fluids and dilute them. Make
Right.
them more watery.
I'm saying
rather
that we
thick and creamy.
should not... You should be identifiably Jewish.
Yeah,
Beards, payas, and that kind of stuff.
exactly.
Be different then, man.
Purity of essence. Just like, what was that? Oh, Dr. Strangelove and How I Learned to Fall in Love with the Bomb. Okay, sports fans.
Yeah.
You get close to that which you sacrifice for. So how do you get close to God? And by sacrificing something. So I feel close to God at Yosemite.
Oh, I asked you how you
holy
got close to
people.
God, and you said when you're listening to Mark Shapiro.
Mark Shapiro, when I'm in Yosemite.
Okay, so
when I'm
Yosemite is
around
like
holy
me
people
going to the beach.
Yeah.
So it's a nature thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was easier to get close to God when you had the holy temple and the sacrificial system, and you'd like see the animals getting killed. And the priest would be saying things, and like there was a whole shebang, there was a whole show.
So if you
Like,
know
it was like-
that getting close to God involves offering animals and
Mhm.
destroying animals,
Mhm.
then why do you separate yourself from all of that and become a vegetarian?
I didn't become, I've always been a vegetarian.
That you know now that was a Seventh-day Adventist then.
I've got 45 years of that habit, I can't break it.
Sure you can.
Oh, I could, but I don't want to.
Why not?
I'm fine how I am. God made me this way.
So maybe what Rob is correct.
Well, that at heart I'm a Christian. Yeah, when I'm at Yosemite and Old Faithful erupts. Old Faithful's at Yellowstone. It's not at Yosemite.
All right, go on to the next thing.
Sacrifice is a time for sins against God, not generally speaking for sins against other people. You can't buy God off for the rotten things you do to your neighbor. You can't go, oh, no, I feel bad that I cheated my neighbor and I slept with his wife and with his daughter and with his sister. Now I'm going to bring some nifty cows.
Right. Why? Explain why. Take it a step further. Why is that?
Well, you have to go to the person that you've
You have to go to the person.
And make it
so
up.
then what do sacrifices, I hate that word. What do offerings, what do the Karbanos do?
They're for, generally speaking, they're for unintentional sins against God.
They're sins against God.
To-
If you sin
to
against your
res-
neighbor, do they help?
No, not unless you've made it up with your neighbor.
So if you
first.
make it up with your neighbor first, right?
Yeah, then you can come to God.
Then you can come to God.
Yeah.
This is what separates us from Christianity.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I can't say all Christianity, but I know this in Catholicism. What happens there? You kill
You
your
go-
brother.
Yeah, and you go to the priest.
You go to the priest. You give him $500 million, and your sin against your brother is no, it's all forgiven. It's all good. Oh, it's great. Torah says, God forbid, that does not apply. if a person kills someone, God forbid, there's only one voice and one voice only that can forgive the murderer, and that voice is dead, and that's the voice of the victim that's buried under the ground. Torah says no one else, not even the family of the victim, can give this person a forgiveness. The person's only tshuva is they need to be executed. That's the only method of tshuva. There's no other atonement for murder other than being executed. Okay? So it's a kindness when we administer the death penalty. This is the only way this person can atone for this terrible sin.
Can they?
A question from the audience. Yes.
But like in secular society here, like say in Europe, there's no death penalty. So if you have a frum Jew who believes that the only way they can atone is by death,
right,
they kill themselves.
Wait, what's this about only atoning by death?
Huh?
What does she mean? She said a frum Jew believes he can only atone by death.
For murder. Are you paying attention at all?
Yeah.
Or are you thinking about Emma again?
I think about Seventh-day Adventist girls.
Okay. Did you hear what I said? What did I say?
You're making the difference. One of the differences between Judaism and Christianity is you can't just go to a priest in Judaism and get forgiveness for doing something terrible to somebody else.
And if you kill someone, what does Judaism say?
There's no forgiveness because the person can't.
So the only way you can be atoned for your sin of murder is
when you die.
No, it's more than die. You have to be executed. Torah defines that. And that's the only way you can atone. Mm-hmm. All this other stuff it's worthless. You need to be executed. Esther in the audience asked a fantastic question. What if you live in a godforsaken place where they don't have a death penalty, such as those wusses in Europe? They don't have it, right?
Right.
So then, if a Jew murders someone, they have no way to atone for their sin because there's no death penalty. So therefore, could they take it upon themselves and have suicide? Right?
And the answer is no.
And no, why wouldn't suicide help?
We don't advocate people commit suicide.
It's an interesting shaila. That's the kind of shaila you want. That's the kind of question you want to take to a major league raw.
Like Mark Shapiro.
Ugh. First of all, you never go to first clue is you don't go to a rabbi with the name Mark.
What if he ends with a C?
Doesn't matter.
With a K.
You go to a rabbi's name Moshe, Mordechai, Menachem. These kind of M names. But you go Mark. His name's Mark. No. But to answer your question, I think it's a very good question. I'm not in a position to answer. Does suicide help in a situation like that? I don't know.
And what if they're in prison and they die of old age?
That's not going to help.
Yeah, so it doesn't help. So
that doesn't help.
If they die of old age, that's still no.
But if they're in prison and the cellmate took a
razor and slit your throat,
that would help.
Oh, really?
And in fact, Rabbi Raps and I, we operate the special service where we help Jews who've committed murder and gotten away with it.
Yeah.
We help them atone by we'll come over and we'll slit your throat.
Oh, Garden Fun is in the room.
Hey, Garden Fun with the beautiful grammar. Lakewood Ralph says Luke 4 still has the flame of Seventh-day Adventism burning in his heart in the form of his vegetarianism. Like, say what you will about goofy Seventh-day Adventist theology. Seventh-day Adventist women are frequently smoking hot. They're very modest. They tend to be more modest than more than 90% of Jewish women. And they don't usually tend to wear a lot of makeup or jewelry or like super fancy clothes. They're just chill. They're toned down. They're just softly spoken. They're very sweet. And I used to play with them in the pool. Pacific Union College, we had this pool, and we played this keep-away game. And the guys all matched up with a girl, and we'd throw this ball, and we'd try to keep it away from the girls. And so, my girl would be in front of me, and she'd catch the ball, and then I'd have to wrap my arms around it and try to get the ball.
Huh.
I have not caught up on Persian Jewish women. I adore Persian Jewish women. Seventh-day Adventists have no problem with birth control.
Luke is a New Testament Jew. I want to tell you something that we saw today. Did we not see this when we were walking around today? I looked at horror. I never saw it before. We walked by. We saw a Messianic synagogue.
Oh yeah, it's on Beverly Drive.
We walked by.
Did you pop in and Dublin Mincha?
And I was like, in horror, I was like looking at the sign. I couldn't even speechless. And she goes, yeah, the Messiah, Yeshua, get it, it's Jesus, the Messiah, fine, let's go. Got it. And they got rabbis and the whole thing. You've been there?
Yeah.
That's That's
I mean, I haven't been inside.
you've never been inside.
No.
Okay.
I mean, but maybe I could try to Makarave them.
No, watch. Did you be kicked out of your 6th place?
Did you see the link to that rabbi in Russia like banging a hooker? It's the first time I'd ever seen a rabbi wearing a yarmulke in a porn film. Did you see that?
No.
This guy is wearing a yarmulke and nothing else, banging a hooker. Orthodox rabbi in Russia.
Why would you bring that up now? What's that have to do with the?
Well, maybe he was trying to Makarave the hooker. That's some speculation.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
Like trying to bring her close.
Got it. Yeah. Fine. Good stuff. Talmud 123 said an interesting thing. I don't know what his source is for this, but I'm going to guess it's Rabbi Nachman. But he said like this: if God forbid a Jew kills another Jew, you got to go to the gravesite of the other Jew and pray there, the Jew you killed, right? And pray that someone kills you within a year. That's a nice take.
Hey, Esther's in the chat room.
Yeah, she's in the chat room.
Wow, she's everywhere.
She's
like Jesus.
Oh, and Talmud said you need a minion for that. You need to go show up with 10 people, and you need to go to the gravesite of the person you killed, and you need to pray to God and say to God that you should die within a year. I think that's good. I don't see anything wrong with doing that. I think that's good because your only tikkun, your only atonement, here is to be killed yourself or to be chayiv misa, to be executed. So the whole concept, you ever see the movie Godfather 3?
No.
Okay, so Michael Corleone.
I saw the first 2.
Right, Michael Corleone goes to the Vatican. He goes to the cardinal, this priest, right? And he says, "I'm willing to contribute $500 million to the church if you forgive me for killing his brother. What was his name? I can't remember.
Antonio.
Fredo. So, and you can do that in Catholicism. I mean, I'm just I get so enraged by that because in Judaism there's no such concept.
Maybe if you freed your neck and thought out, you wouldn't be so angry.
Thank you for that. Yeah, no such thing as a good chair. Okay.
I guess I tend to repeat myself.
All right, next thing.
Okay, so the Talmud states there are a couple of reasons for why Roman civilization should be praised. So generally speaking, Talmud does not praise the Romans. But one of the reasons for which Rome should be praised is that they did not marry men to men.
Whereas the Greeks were known for...
Boggery.
The Greeks were known for having...
Greek sex.
Young male...
Lovers,
sex slaves, or whatever you want to call them, right? But the Romans didn't go for that nourishkeit, right?
Yeah.
Right? Where do you think the Romans learned that? What's the difference between the Greeks and the Romans, lineage-wise?
I don't know.
Okay, the Greeks came from Japhas, one of the 3 sons of Noah, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. They broke off. They had nothing to ever do with being Jewish, right? But the Romans come from the Edomites. They're from Edom. Edom was from who? Was the land given to Esau. They're from Esau. Esau grew up in the house of...
Yitzhak.
In the house of Yitzchak and Rivka. You cannot grow up in the house of Yitzchak and Rivka and not be affected by it. So even if Esau was a bad boy, Rabbi Miller says, compared to the rest of the world, he's a tzaddik. If he came down into this world today, you would stand up for him. He walked in the room, he'd be like a tzaddik. Right? You cannot not be affected by growing up in a righteous home with a tzaddik as a father and a tzaddikus as a mother. It's got to affect you. So Esau left and he had some Torah in him, right? And that's why the Talmud finds a way to praise the Romans because we know that it's our cousins. And we see, this is something that they've held on to. It's one of the 7 Noachide laws that were taught in this home. Don't do butt sex with another man. We don't tolerate that stuff, right? It's not, there's no room for it. The Noachide laws apply, and that's why you don't see it.
Do your parents think that you've had butt sex?
Oh, God.
With another guy? Thinking our son, we raised him up in Torah, and he's getting cornhole right now by some big black guy.
Can we move on? All right. Next.
Rabbi Berewine writes, the Talmud explicitly teaches us that if a priest, a Kohen, somehow resembles an angel of God in his behavior and deportment, people would come to study Torah from his mouth and sense the true holiness of the temple. The task that was placed on the priest was not one of mere rote service in the temple, it was rather the challenge to be exemplary in behavior, a role model for others, and a teacher of Torah to Israel by deed as well as by word. That would define the priest. So, as the priest was to be to the Jews, so too the Jews are to be to the world. Jews are to be priests to the world.
Okay.
I got that from Dennis Prager. I just slipped that in there.
Well, actually, wait, stop.
Sorry.
But he's just quoting the Talmud. The Talmud says that the Jews are compared to priests.
Oh yeah, you shall be a holy people. That's in the Torah.
That's
the Torah.
Yeah, but the Talmud says we are the Kohanim to the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
We are the priests. That's why we have to wear priestly things, and that's why we all wear priestly hats. That's why it's so important that a Jew spends a lot of money on a hat, because the Kohanim used to spend these expensive migbaos, these really fancy hats. So a Jew shouldn't go light on their hat and go, well, I'm not going to wear a hat, I'm just going to wear this $1 yarmulke, but I'm going to go out and buy a $1,000 suit. That is goyish. Jew goes out and he spends like a $10,000, what do they call those things? A strymel. Right? And then he buys a bekisher that's maybe a couple $100, but the money should always be invested on your hat. We learned that from the Kohanim.
The reason I got rid of you so quick last week is I was feeling very priestly. I had to take a confession from Emma. Okay, so when a Gentile priest walks by in distinctive religious garb, it has an effect on people around. People speak differently and they act differently when there's a priest, in distinctive religious garb around. Oh, I got a question for her. So it used to be, like when you were growing up in the 1970s, you saw someone dressed like you. They were either a rabbi or they were a yeshiva student. They knew someone. Now, people dressed like you walk around, they can be complete ignoramuses. What do you think about that?
That's because of Lubavitch.
Say more.
Lubavitch, they bring you in or whatever.
Yeah, the Makare.
They get through their outreach and
they dress you up.
They dress you up. They give you a fancy hat, and the guy's got a beard and everything, and
he's still an ignoramus.
He doesn't even know how to take a piss according to halacha.
Right.
Right.
How do you take a piss according to halacha?
Do you know?
No.
You're supposed to know. You're a convert. You're supposed to know more than that.
They didn't.
Your conversion program, I don't know. They skipped the basics.
It was done over the internet.
Yeah. He took what do they call that?
It was virtual learning.
Yeah, you took a.
So how are you supposed to urinate?
We're not going to go into that here. But the point is that you see some folks running around in Chabad,
mm-hmm.
and they're dressed up, with the whole ganza, the whole shtick,
mm-hmm.
right? But they don't know the first thing. It's total amaratza, right? So that's the problem that that's what you're talking about.
So, is it that you're not allowed to touch the shaft, or how do you?
You're gonna, you know what? I'm gonna leave this as a
homework assignment.
A homework assignment,
folks. If you know the Torah way to urinate, please send me an email. Okay, so I got a question for you. If someone's an ignoramus, how do you feel about them dressing up like you?
How do I feel about them?
Yeah, would you rather?
I don't really care.
But doesn't it devalue?
No.
Because it used to be someone dressed like you, they knew Torah. Nowadays, someone dresses like you, they may be as ignorant as me.
Well, you used to dress like me.
I used to dress like you.
Big ass.
And I was a complete ignoramus.
I don't. I'm fine with it.
Okay.
I'm actually fine with it. Because remember, the difference between me and you is, we talked about this many times. You judge people based on what they're not doing. It's like, oh, you've set your bar like way up here.
Right.
You're holding down here,
right?
You need to get rid of this and meet down here.
Right.
I'm not like that so much. I say, okay, he's got this going on. Okay, he's not really holding that level on everything else, but at least he's got this going on. So I say, okay, good. At least he's dressing like a Jew, because like it says, it says like based on 4 merits, the Jews are redeemed from exile, and one of them is we keep our Jewish clothes. So I see a guy, I see him wearing Jewish clothes. I say, Baruch Hashem.
Even if he's an ignorant.
Even if he's an ignoramus.
So I understand the halakha of urination is that you cannot touch the pencil, but you can touch the eraser.
Oh, by the way, I just learned today. I learned today that in Britain, the slang, they call an eraser a rubber.
The bell end.
No, the rubber. They call it a rubber.
Yeah.
So here it would be you're not allowed to touch. You can touch the pencil, but you shouldn't touch the rubber.
How do you feel like mitzitza beper, where they suck off the blood off the baby?
Oh, I was just asked this question recently.
By me.
That's part of our tradition. That goes back a million years. So the thought that okay, here's the story. That's been our tradition since Sinai. Right, and we never had a problem with it.
Right.
So to say that there's that it goes against halacha or something, that's the halacha. That's what it's always been. That's been our tradition. Right. There's been some stuff written about it, right, that was like 150 years old. And they said the fact that Jews have survived through all of these centuries proves that there's no health risk. Right? But that was all written 150 years ago. And that's before 2 things happened since then. What are the 2 things that have happened since that?
STDs.
STDs are much more rampant. Like AIDS, they didn't have that back then.
Yeah.
All these things weren't around back then. That's one.
Yeah.
And what's the other one? Assimilation.
Uh-huh.
You don't know what's going on. You got this whole Baal Tshuva movement.
Right,
People were like involved in porn.
People dressed like rabbis, but complete ignoramuses.
Yeah, but people were like, can you imagine like somebody like came into the fold and had been involved in pornography or whatever? You never know what these people have done. So it's actually, I say that the argument that we've been around for so many thousands of years, what was written 150 years ago, I don't know if that necessarily applies today. We need someone to come out today and write about that. Okay, because there are things that have taken place in the last 150 years that I don't know.
Now, you can touch the pencil with a chaziza-like piece of tissue. But, where's the fun in that?
Okay. Hawkeye State Chassid. That's somebody in Iowa. Hey, how you doing? I'm going to guess I think I know who that is, but I'll let them identify themselves.
Now,
it's Adam from Iowa.
Are women allowed to be a mole?
Are women allowed to be a mole?
Yeah.
No.
Did your mohole suck the blood off? Maybe that's why your parents are convinced it.
Oh, for crying out loud. Okay, let's go on.
Okay, I'm trying to elevate the conversation here.
We got 9 viewers in the chat room. We're kicking ass tonight, folks.
Okay, so hazitza is a separation. So if you just hold it with a piece of cloth,
right,
then you can touch the pencil all you like.
Wait a second. I want to see one. Talmud123 said he's got a funniest story. Let's see how he was at a Chabad, went to the bathroom.
He forgot to lock the door.
He started taking a piss, and he was doing a sneeze. Someone opened the door inside and said, "You can't touch your sack."
And people in the shul were giving him cover. Talmud123 is a great guy, but he's not. He's a little off at times.
Hey, he's a good guy. I like him.
Good guy, but I really don't think the people at shul giving you covered for the way you are holding your pencil. So certainly I hope they weren't.
All right.
Ay, basically, I'm going to try to elevate the conversation here.
Okay.
So do animals have rights? No, not in a Torah view. Animals don't have moral obligations, therefore they don't have rights. Animals are here to serve us, human beings. The Torah cares about how animals are treated. For instance, the 4th commandment says that animals must rest on the Sabbath, but those responsibilities are on us. So animals don't intrinsically have rights. There are no animal rights in the Torah perspective. There are obligations on us and how we treat animals.
Are animals people too?
No.
Okay, thank you. I find it morally obtuse, to say the least, when someone tells me that animals are people too. I say that's not just someone who's misguided and ignorant. I say that's someone who's got some serious moral bankruptcy. And I'll tell you what. Can I go on this?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the kind of stuff that led to the Holocaust. When you dehumanize humans and make them equivalent to animals, then you can perform crazy-ass, barbaric experiments that are like inhumane, because when you reduce us to the level of an animal, and you can do experiments on animals, then you can do experiments on humans because you made them the same. So to me, it's very, very dangerous to ever. You need a concrete wall, like we talked about the division between Jews and non-Jews.
Mm-hmm.
You need a similar one between people and animals. Okay, there's animals, then there's non-Jews, then there's Jews, right? And you've got to have separate walls. And when people gray out and make that line, not, they make fuzz that line between animals and people, that's a very dangerous thing.
One of the times when I realized I'd hit bottom is when I found myself looking for bestiality online. That's when I realized.
Oh, you're sick.
That's when I realized that I'd hit bottom and that I needed to stop and to get help and start 12-stepping, because I didn't know. It's like looking for women and donkeys and stuff like that.
Oh my God!
And I thought, man, this is really low.
This is as low as it
goes. This is as low as it goes. I can't believe I've hit the ultimate in degradation. I've got to cut that stuff off, and I haven't. I haven't looked at porn in over a year, and I haven't looked at bestiality in, 8 years. How long has it been since you've looked at bestiality?
Hasn't happened yet.
Okay, good.
Actually, I won't look at it. It makes me, it just would make me nauseous. It would. I wouldn't be able to handle that. It's just too wrong.
We all have our weak points. Great Jewish novel is Portnoy's Complaint by Philip Roth. The protagonist's job is as a human rights commissioner for the city of New York. Now, this novel is mainly about this guy's sex life, but despite his constant pluking of shiksas, he's still preoccupied with moral issues. So even this horny heap is still trying to do good in the world. So from Wikipedia, on the first page of the novel, one finds this clinical definition of Portnoy's Complaint, as if taken from a manual on sexual dysfunction. Portnoy's Complaint, a disorder in which strongly felt ethical and altruistic impulses are perpetually warring with extreme sexual longings, often of a perverse nature. Me, this is what I have. I have Portnoy's Complaint. Publication of the novel caused a major controversy in American public discourse, just like this show. The two aspects that evoked such outrage were its explicit and candid treatment about sexuality and obscenities, including detailed depictions of masturbation, just like this show, which was revolutionary in the late 1960s, and the irreverent portrait of Jewish identity, just like this show, sparked an uproar in the Jewish community, even among New York intellectuals such as Irving Howe and Diana Trilling, just like this show.
Right, because I know a lot of people worldwide are really up in arms about the material we're covering.
Exactly. So
it's back to the chat room. Let's see what's going on. Anything I missed? This is a big room tonight. Dude, bestiality. All right, whatever. PETA seeks to expand. PETA is the modern day Catholics. PETA is the modern day Nazis. Okay? Mm-hmm. They basically are doing the same thing the Nazis did, right? When they talked about the whole chicken campaign. Remember that?
Yeah.
And try to compare chickens. Millions of chickens were led to slaughter, just like the Jews were all led to slaughter in the Holocaust. You make a comparison like that, you are part of the Holocaust. You are Hitler, because the Nazis tried to equate Jews with animals. We were subspecies. Therefore, you can do sadistic experiments on us, right? You don't have to feel guilty about killing us because we're just animals. When you take chickens and you compare slaughtering chickens to slaughtering Jews, you've just thought, you're continuing the ideas that the Nazis put through, that you're making that comparison, and you're equating Jews to chickens and lambs and whatever. PETA is the modern day Nazis.
I can imagine you go to Starbucks and you see a woman there and like, oh yeah, just saw her in a video with a donkey, and then she turns you down. Like she was willing to do it with a donkey, but she's not willing to do it with you. Like what would that do to your self-esteem?
What?
You go to Starbucks and like there's a woman who's been doing it with barnyard animals.
Uh-huh.
But she won't do it with you.
That's just wrong.
Well, that could really hurt a guy's self-esteem.
Yeah.
I mean, but this is like the sick stuff that's out there, and it's what we're fighting against on Torah Talk. It's like one of the things of holiness is there's separation between human and animal.
Right.
We don't like, humans shouldn't have sex with animals. It's against the Torah.
Talmud 123 is getting really, feisty.
He's always feisty. He's always.
He just wrote.
He's a character.
He just told the Aves that he hopes he dies.
Yeah, well, Talmud, when I hung out with him one night, he was like biking up and down Pico Boulevard, yelling at people. He's.
I think he's right. I think Liquid Rob is right. It's generally true that men who won't eat meat like to watch videos of women having sex with animals.
I think it's a complex compensatory device.
Because you see animals as fellow human beings, that's why you won't eat them, because you would feel cannibalistic.
Right.
And since they're fellow human beings, why not put them in a porn video?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, okay. That's all coming through. It's all adding up now.
But I haven't watched any of that sick stuff for many years. Like, what's the sickest stuff that you've watched on the internet? Have you watched Two Girls, One Cup?
What?
Have you watched Two Girls, One Cup?
I don't know what that is.
I'll find it for you.
Oh, no. Don't you dare show him that.
Don't show him Two Girls, One Cup?
Don't you dare show him that.
Let me show you. I want to show you Two Girls, One Cup.
No, I don't want to see it.
Trust me, don't see it.
I don't want to see it.
Oh.
How do you guys both know these things? That's cool.
It's part of popular culture. How do you know Two Girls, One Cup?
I was showed it
You were showed it?
by a friend.
Let's pay Rabs to watch it.
I'm not watching it.
Disgusting.
I'm not.
Did you ever watch The Aristocrats?
The Aristocrats?
Yeah, it was a comedy DVD.
No.
And they all tell the same joke. And the punchline's The Aristocrats.
No.
Why am I not married?
Why are you not married?
Why am I not
Do
married?
you want me to bring out our studio audience member and have her
I don't get it. Like, I am such a catch.
have her explain it to you?
Okay, so is there anything else that you'd like to add?
No, I think we're good. Any questions from our audience tonight?
No.
Have you heard the Aristocrats joke?
No.
Okay. That's probably a good thing.
All right, folks. I want to say it's big. It's great show tonight. I'm really glad you guys stayed in there to the
Welcome
end.
to two Torah dudes, one audience member, and a bottle of water.
Okay.
So, kiddies, stay in yeshiva and stay off the crack.
All right. Let me save it all.